Thank you for everybody for joining us. This is a January meeting, Premiere Pro User Group 2024. Super happy to see so many new faces and so many people here. We have an excellent meeting lined up. Before we get to that, I'll just make a few announcements. Well, first of all, for those of you who are new, my name is Eric Addison. I'm the guy who manages and runs this group. I've been doing it for it's the same amount of time as my wedding anniversary, so I better well know this. It'll be 15 years this September. Fortunately, my wife doesn't watch these, so she can't really bust me for not knowing that or having to think about it. But yeah, we will be 15 years old this year, which is crazy. A couple of announcements. Just want to say, the closest event coming up would be NAB, and that's going to be in April, which is going to be here sooner than you know. And so for those of you who've never been to NAB, I highly suggest you go. It is a really great event, great to network and meet people that are like in this meeting. And you can usually get a free pass. All you got to do is pay for your hotel in Vegas. And come on, who doesn't love a couple days in Vegas? You get to hang with all these wonderful, production and post-production people. So highly recommend that. The last thing I'll say too is there is a new update to Premiere, which I'm sure you all have heard about. I debated whether to talk about it with the new audio fade handles. If you haven't seen that, which I'm assuming everybody has at this point, it's in the beta version of Premiere, which you can download and run alongside your regular version. I'm a big fan of these new handles to control your audio fade up and fade down. So, like I said, I assume everybody's seen it. So if you haven't, check it out. And if you haven't seen it and you're kind of curious about it, you want to know more about it, let me know and I can point you in the right direction. But it's definitely worth downloading and playing with for sure. Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else to say, but I don't think I have any other announcements. So with that, I guess let's just move straight into this meeting. So I am very thrilled to have our presenter today. I've known Jarle for a long time. He is I think he's probably the smartest guy I know on Premiere. And he's going to say no to that. But to be fair, there's probably about 2 or 3 people that are probably at the same, the guys on, for you Americans, the Mount Rushmore of Premiere Pro knowledgeability, people who know it, he would be up there for sure. I meant to have the book, the giant, all about Premiere. I'm sure he has it, he can show. But anyway, he's written about Premiere, he's presented on Premiere, he is just super, super knowledgeable. So, and I should have had his bio here, but I've had a crazy morning and I don't have it here to read. So I'll let Jarle kind of introduce himself and talk about his background. I apologize for not having the bio. I had some family stuff this morning. What can you do? So, but anyway, with that, I will turn it over to him, where we are going to talk about multicam and its many uses and how to use it to its full extent and kind of let you know the tips and tricks of it. So with that, Jarle, do you want to take over?
Well, yeah, I guess. So I'll start sharing my screen, I guess. So like that, and I'll try to move people over here so I can, there you go. Some organizing on my screens here so I can see if people understand what I'm saying and stuff. So, okay, I guess I can start by presenting myself because I'm, as you can hear, I'm not native English speaking, so I live in Norway, in Oslo. I do write some articles and I do some training. So these are courses that I do at a local training facility here in Oslo. So as you can see, there's a lot of After Effects and Premiere Pro in there. I've also written a book on video making. It says Video in Practice, and that's a Norwegian book about making video, everything, lighting, audio recording, video recording, everything. And you probably gonna Google me and find out that I have a background as a magician. So I used to be a magician. I perform at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, if some of you may know where that is. So I wrote a book, but that was in 1997, about using your pockets for magic tricks. And I've stopped making magic or doing magic, so I can't show you any tricks on this session. But the stuff lives on. So this is the French version that was published like 2 years ago, and I laughed out loud when I saw that, because they had Vikings and Aurora Borealis and stuff on the cover, just because I'm from Norway. So that was kind of strange. A bit more relevant, maybe. I have been the technical editor for the Classroom and the Book series for Premiere Pro. So how many is this? 4, 5, 6. This is 7th edition now that we have coming soon. Maxim Jago writes the book, and I make sure everything he writes is true. So there's a lot of new stuff in each version. So I take care of that. I've also written a book, as Eric said, about Premiere Pro. It's called The Cool Stuff in Premiere Pro. This is the last version, and that was published in 2017. So it's a bit old in the tooth, but it's still a huge amount of info there, 1,200 plus pages. And I don't have to say it's good, because people say that on Amazon. Apart from 2 people who complain about the image quality on the very thin paper. So don't buy the paper version, buy the PDF. I also run PremierePro.net, where you can find tutorials and free downloads and stuff for Premiere Pro and After Effects. And I've written this for Adobe, making Mogurts, about making motion graphics templates in After Effects and for use in Premiere Pro. So that's downloadable also from PremierePro.net for free. So and as you can see, there's some indented blue text here, and that's code that you can copy from the PDF and paste into After Effects and pretend you know how to do this. So that's what we all do. I also write some articles for Frame.io. So if you need to know, if you like really deep stuff, this is estimated 55 minutes to read. It's quite a lot about color in Premiere Pro. I just finished one more that will be published in a week or 2. So there'll be one more here in a week or 2. 2 years ago, we published this, the best practices and workflow guide for long form and episodic post-production in Premiere Pro. And that's also freely downloadable from PremierePro.net or directly from Adobe. If you do, long form or episodic or huge documentaries and stuff, just read this and you will save yourself a lot of trouble. It's free. I also do some training at some universities in Norway, and I do a lot of training for companies. These are the companies I've been doing in-house training for. So there's a lot. So I can't go through all these. It's too much. I'm also used as a speaker on some occasions, like Adobe Video World and Adobe Max and so on. A little curiosity, I made handheld camera presets for Deadpool, the movie, the first one, the good one, the funny one. And those are also freely downloadable from PremierePro.net. And I also do I did some graphics on a documentary from LA. And I make a lot of motion graphics templates for customers. Not sure how bad this looks through Zoom, but these are some of the motion graphics templates I've made for Norwegian customers mostly. So they're kind of idiot-proof. People can't really do anything wrong. They can't choose the wrong colors. They can't choose the wrong fonts. They can't place things wrongly. It's just idiot-proof. So yeah, I can't show you all these because it's a lot. So yeah, and sometimes I do some editing for companies in Norway, and also I am sometimes asked to match cameras for Norwegian Broadcasting when they send all their color graders on a vacation at the same time, stuff like that. So that's me. That's what I do. So let's dive into Premiere Pro. I'm kind of guessing that everyone knows the basic workflow, but I'll show it anyway, just in case some people haven't tried, multicam in Premiere Pro. So I'm going to use this material here. This is a magician. Delete that. This is a magician doing some tricks, filmed with a few cameras. And I just select all the cameras, I right-click, and choose Create Multi-Camera Source Sequence. So that's the first thing you have to do, is to sync the cameras in a multi-camera source sequence. And you can choose to give it a name after the video clip name. That will be the first one that I chose here. Not very good. Or audio clip name. I didn't have any audio here, so I'll choose custom. And let's say the man is called Rune, so I'll just call this Rune Multicam. And then you can choose to sync from points. If you have in points, if you set in points, if you have a clapper, you can set in point or an out clapper too. You can set those points on all the clips manually, and then sync by those. If you're so lucky that you have time code on everything, and all the cameras are running the same time code, then it's very easy. Then it's super fast to sync the cameras. And then we also get some extra possibilities to assign metadata like camera label and camera angle to the clips. I can hear myself. Someone needs to mute themselves, I guess.
Yeah, I think someone might. Everybody, make sure your mics are on mute, please.
Yeah. So,
hey, just for a second, Jarl.
Yeah.
While you're there, endpoints for setting an endpoint on a synchronization point, that's something I would be really curious if you could just give 30 seconds on that, how to set the endpoint on multiple clips before you're, maybe you're coming back to that, I don't know.
You don't know how to set endpoints in Premiere Pro?
I do, but there's multiple frames there, and so you're basically, is it just like in the source bin that you set the endpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would either do it in a source bin with thumbnails, or just open them in the source monitor and press the I when you see.
So it's the traditional way. It's not like an official multicam in sync thing.
No, it's a normal endpoint, like you would set for any kind of clip. And the same with out point. If you have an out clapper, you can set the out point.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah. I like that you. I like to answer the questions along the way, so we don't have to save them for the end. So thanks for the question. Okay, we will not sync by timecode. I don't have the same timecode on all these. If you have sound timecode, if you want to sync by that, all the video clips need to have sound time code in them. If you don't know what that is, you don't need it. So just forget it if you don't know what that is. So this time I'll sync by audio because all these cameras were running and they had bad audio. This one, the first one, has good audio, and that's important because when you want to use the audio from just one camera, the first one that you select. When I do this is the first one I select, and then I drag. So this will then be camera one. So when you go to create multi-camera source sequence, using the audio from camera one will be the first one you selected. So if this was the camera that had the good audio, I had to select that first and then the other ones. Okay, so this is the first one. That's camera one, always. Okay, so we'll sync by audio. I don't really know which track channel has the good audio, so we'll just use the mix down. If you know what track has the good audio, choose that, because then you won't have mixed with bad audio. So that's a good thing. If you know the good audio is on track one, choose that. Here on the sequence preset, always, and I mean always, choose automatic. There's no reason to, give yourself a lot of pain by trying to choose the right one here. There's a lot, and most of them will be wrong. So just don't even try. Just sequence preset, automatic, always. Offset audio, that's if you have like maybe a DSLR camera that's a little, what should I say, drifting a little, or always records audio a little bit off, then you can offset the audio by a few frames if that's needed. This choice to move the clips to a process clips bin will move all these clips to a new bin inside this bin called processed clips, if they are synced. So if Premiere Pro can sync them, it will move them into that bin, which is nice because then you know that the ones that didn't go into that bin, they couldn't be synced. So that's a nice thing. I won't do that now because it messes with my my layout here, or my organization. So I'll deselect that. And the audio sequence settings, camera 1 is what you probably use most of the time, where you use the audio just from the first camera you selected. So that's the most used choice. If you have an audio clip, if I had an audio only clip here, this setting, camera 1, would not use the camera 1 audio, but the external audio, like a WAV file, which is kind of strange that when I choose camera 1, it won't use the audio from camera 1. So I think there should maybe be another extra choice here that showed you that you will actually use the audio from the, the extra audio. Anyway, most of you will always choose mono for the audio channels preset. So you get mono audio out from your multicam. You can have several tracks, but they will all be mono tracks. Camera names can be taken from just camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can use the track names in the multicam. Then you have to actually input some useful track names there, or you can use the clip names. The clip names here make no real sense, so I'll just choose enumerate cameras.
Can I ask two quick questions? Sorry,
yeah.
Jarle, just before on that one. You've already moved. So sorry.
Yeah, but
I don't know how to
I'll
prompt for a question. I didn't see a place to raise my hand like the Zoom or like Teams.
No, there's not.
Okay, so quick question. Sequence presets. If you know you're delivering 3840 by 2160, wouldn't you choose a preset for that?
No.
No?
I will base my multi-camera source sequence from the source.
Okay. Yeah. So if it's 4096, for example, we shoot 4096, so we get extra room to do panning.
Yeah, if you shoot that, this will be that.
Okay. What if it's multiple frame sizes? Sometimes I've got like a varied frame sizes. How does that automatic thing do? Would you force it to the camera 1? Is that the idea?
Yeah, the automatic here means it's going to use the frame rate and the frame size from the first camera you choose. So just choose the one you want to have or the one you want to control the frame size and frame rate, and you're good.
So that's how to define the automatic properly, is to choose the right camera frame that you're, that's one way to do it then.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is audio. What if you have like, FS7 has like 8 tracks of audio, for example?
Yeah, I was going to come back to that. So
okay. So yeah, that's when it's mixing to mono. That was a bit. I was like, okay. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. And just so everybody knows, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the chat. And so if you do ask questions in the chat, when we reach a point where, I can kind of interject, I'll be sure and get all those questions in for you.
Cool. Okay, so I've renamed this like I wanted. I have the automatic setting here. I have the camera 1 setting here, and I choose mono as my audio channels preset and hit OK. So now I've created a multi-camera sequence, right? And it takes its names. I didn't. Okay, so I'll do that again. I'll show you what I didn't do, because I did this, and then I wrote a name here, but I still let that be a video clip name. You know, I should say custom, so I get this name. It's a little bit more. You know, for me, this name is better. So, and this is a multi-camera source sequence. It's just a sequence. So if I hold Control or Command on the Mac, I'm on PC, so I hold Control. So I press Control and double click, and it will open in the timeline. Okay. And now we can see that I have a problem here. Because this camera has been stopped. This is the same camera, actually, these 3 clips. But the camera was stopped during the recording and started again. So that's a bit bad. I don't care about the audio because all these tracks are muted. So only the audio from camera 1 is now unmuted, right? But to get these down, I can Alt or Option click on them, and then Alt or Option and arrow down. So I'll do that, just pressing Alt or Option and arrow down. And now I have 2 empty tracks, and that will show as just empty camera angles in the multicam. So we don't want that. So I'll just right click and delete track twice, or I could also delete tracks in plural and delete everything that's empty. So now I have 4 angles, and this is now in the right place. So this is the multi-camera source sequence. We don't really work too much in that and just make sure everything is okay, like I did now, like move this camera down and stuff like that. And then we drag that into our edit timeline. And this Kyle is where you will set your, your destination frame rate and size and stuff like that. So your edit sequence should be there. And then I just drag this into the timeline, and I have my multicam. I can expand the tracks to see better. So yeah, so this is now my multicam. And since I use audio from camera 1, which was stereo, recorded as a stereo audio, I now have 2 channels. But these are, if I solo this,
Dice on the cup, the dice in the pocket.
that's his microphone. This other track is the camera mic.
Take 13!
So this is bad audio. So I just want to get rid of this. I should have done that before I synced if I was smarter, but I just want to show you that you can do it now too. So I'm deleting that, and just for fun, I'll move this up. So now I have my multi-camera source sequence in my edit sequence. So that's the basic thing. And then I can try to find out where it's starting, and I hit Q to trim the top. And then it's just a matter of showing the multi-camera monitor. Shift 0 is the keyboard shortcut. Make that bigger. And then you can just hit play and click on the cameras that you want to use.
1 cup and 1 dice. How hard could it be to fool you once or twice? A dice and a cup, a dice in the pocket, but still back on the table, like a shooting rocket.
Oh, and you can see I really didn't hit the right spots here. By purpose, I know this material, so I could have done that. But just to show you how to edit this, so let's say I thought this was okay in the first cut here, but then the next cut to here, I should have cut when this hand comes into the frame, right? So what I can do is to use the rolling edit tool. So you have the ripple and you have the rolling edit tool, and then you can roll that cut, right?
A dice and a cup.
And here too, I should probably roll this here. So you can easily edit this after the fact. And here too, I should have cut earlier, so I can do this, roll it here, maybe here, and so on. If you cut to the wrong camera, if you wanted to cut to this camera, just click on that and you've changed it. So that's the basic workflow. So any questions so far?
Yeah, one question that Kevin had was about dealing with different frame rates.
Yeah.
So like when your clips are all different frame rates, how does that work out?
If they're all different frame rates, you have to make a choice. But I have, here's my original, where this one is actually 29.97, while the other ones are 25. So if I do the same thing, create a multi-camera source sequence, I can call this Rune 29.97. And I use the same thing, and all the same settings, and hit OK. This multicam, if I open that, Control or Command double click, you'll see I have the same problems here, of course. So no difference here. Oh, sorry, need a selection tool. Oops. There you go. And move this down. So I have the same problems there, but then I have an additional problem, because all the other cameras, so these cameras are recorded at 25 frames per second. This is 29.97, and this is camera 1, which means this sequence, so if I go to sequence settings, this is now 29.97. That may not be what I want, because all the other ones are 25. Maybe it's best to have this sequence at 25, so just that one camera is running at the wrong speed. Not the wrong speed, but the wrong frame rate. Was that a good answer, or?
Yeah, Kevin, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I didn't know. I guess if it affects the syncing, if you're using the audio as the source to sync from.
Should not affect the syncing, because all these now run at 100% speed, right? So it's not doing anything, it's just dropping frames here, very simple. So, yeah.
And then Brian had a question. He says, I typically receive separate audio files with 3 tracks, lob 1, lob 2, and a boom. How do I get source tracks to be part of the multicam clip, not created stereo track?
Yeah. So so here again, I have this same material, but I also have another file here. I have the separate WAV file. So I can, and this is, I think this is new in the beta now, because it used to be that if you choose a bin, this is grayed out, right? But if I choose this now and create multi-camera source sequence, it will actually do it. But then you will the camera 1 will be the first one in the alphabet. So it's it's a little bit scary. But if all your cameras have the same frame size and frame rate, you should be good. And I hit OK, and let's call this just audio. I tend to move them up to a bin that I call multicams, so I can kind of organize things. So this one, as you can see, uses sorry, it can't really do it then. I thought you could make a multicam from here, but it seems I need to choose not a bin anyway. Even though it's not grayed out, it didn't really use that audio. So I've selected all these, and then I also select the audio. I right click, same thing, create multi-camera source sequence. I use the same setting, camera 1. I'll call this one audio then. So the same setting, and put this in my fantastic bin and open that by command double clicking. And now you can see this is the separate audio file. This is the WAV file. This is the audio from camera 1 is muted, even though it said camera 1 when I chose it. So that's kind of strange. And the same basic problems here, but this should now be, I can choose to delete the tracks and all empty video tracks. It will do it in one go. So now I've used only the external audio, right? So if I put this one in my edit timeline, I'll just get rid of this. And by the way, look at this. The insert and overwrite sequences as nests or individual clips is not highlighted here. And still I get multi-camera as a nested clip. That's new in 24.1. So if I did that before without this enabled, I would get the source files and not the multicam. So they kind of fixed that. But this is now the only the separate audio from the WAV file. Okay. And then you have the other problem where you have lots of audio. Like maybe I have 4 channels of audio. What you'll do then is to, I can show you this in the source monitor. So this is just for testing. So this is track 1. This is track 2. So I'm just saying this is track 1, this is track 2, this is track 3, and so on. What if I only want to use track 1 and on both these? Then I can right click and do modify audio channels, but I prefer to just use Shift 9. No, sorry, Shift G, Shift G. So in the project now, select them and Shift G. And the modify clip, and this is kind of not intuitive, this dialogue here, because I've seen people, even knowledgeable people, do this. I will deselect these, and now they think they have just one audio channel. No, number of audio clips says 4. So what you said now, I don't want the audio from these, but I want 4 tracks, which makes no sense. You're making 3 empty tracks and 1 with the audio. So what you want to do is to choose mono and then 1 track, and then you can choose which one you want. I want track 1. If you do this often, you should not do all this clicking. You should save this now as a preset, give it a proper name, and then you can just, next time you do this, select them, Shift G. I have a larger screen usually. So you can just choose the preset. So let's see, we'll choose 1 like that and save it and call it mono, because that's what we're making here. Mono track 1 only. So next time you just instead of use file, which is where is that when you start, you just choose your preset and you're done. You don't want to use your time clicking on clicking. So just hit OK. And now when these are put in a multicam, they only have one channel.
All right, I've got a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Kyle's question. In the past, multicam, the audio would switch with the camera. How does it work now if I want to have one main audio, but then also some camera source audio for the mixer to work with? I think we just kind of covered that. So unless I'm...
Yeah, well, you can, of course, instead of using camera one, you can choose to have audio from all cameras.
Okay.
Which will, yeah, give you the audio from all the cameras.
Can I follow that up? Okay,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
if for ease of editing, it's better to not have them all in your timeline, right? So, you know,
Yeah.
what would be your best choice to sort of give the mixer those extra bits and bobs that they may need? So maybe from an editor's point of view, you're giving them a nice clean cut, but then is there a way to make sure that the OMF or the AAF that you're giving them would have the other camera information?
What most people do is to make a multicam from only the video and then just cut in all the audio manually and having them lower tracks.
That's what I've done in the past. Yeah, it's always what I've done. I just wonder if there's an easier way.
Well, yeah, then you could, like here, if I alt-click here and drag down and makes a copy, I can choose another, right-click on audio channels, I could choose another audio file. Well, that wasn't very good because that's silent, but yeah, you get the idea.
And then Kyle, you have... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Kyle had another question. How do you sync a new asset to an existing multicam? I think we just talked about that. So,
yeah, well, that's a little bit problematic because when you're in here, maybe in this one, if you add another clip, you can't really see because these are synced, right? So say I wanted to add this later. And I've now messed up my multicam. But so say let's say I had only these cameras, and then I wanted to add this angle, right? So how can I sync that to? Oh, that's I had a phone call. I should have put it on silent. Sorry about that. Anyway, so I want to sync this to the other clips here. So how can I do that? Well, I could sync it to the main audio like this by right-click and sync, which I can't really see now.
I think because you don't have the other clip highlighted.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
you have to select
I need at least two.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I did it the classical error because I clicked on that one and control clicked on that one, but it isn't control, it's shift in a timeline in Premiere Pro, which is not the standard in any other program. So it's yeah. So I have them selected and I want to sync them. So synchronize, right click and synchronize, and by audio. And what happens now? Well, this moved. Why? Because this was in sync, right? That shouldn't happen. That was bad. So what can I do?
This is why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Because I got into it. I was like, it's hard.
And that's because there are rules. So no clip can move to the left of start. So. So my timeline starts at 0. You can't move a clip before that. And this was already at the start. This can't really move to the left. It has to move to the right. Okay.
So do you just trim it and then put it back?
That's one way to do it, is to just do this and then shift, not control, and synchronize. This may or may not work. Didn't work. And that's probably because this would have to be moved to before start.
Right. So, but if you trim the top one first,
yeah,
and then try that. That's what I would try to do anyway.
Yeah.
Now you're mentioning it.
and synchronize, and
Damn.
still can't do it, right? What if I do this, you know? Oh, sorry, I have to learn that. Shift and synchronize. So you see how this messes with us, right?
Yeah, and it's not the order that you select either, is it?
No. So what I would probably do is to, just select everything and move this before, so it starts before this one. Now it's in sync.
And then put it back.
Yeah, and then just delete the gap.
What if we had locked those tracks? If we had locked V3, V2, and V1 before?
I was just going to ask that.
If you lock them, then you can't. Yeah, okay. So I see what you're aiming for here, and that can work. Let's see. Now everything should be. But now, how do I sync? I can't.
Now you can't select it.
Yeah. So it's it's a bit tricky. But that's what I would do. I would just move stuff so that I'm sure that this starts before this. I shouldn't really have to, if I just now this is out of sync. As long as this clip starts before this one, I should be good. Yeah. So. Okay, so to make that was a long-winded explanation, but as long as this clip starts before I start to sync, starts after this one, I'm good, because clips will always move to the right. So so this one now needs to move to the right. So the rule is the first clip, the clip that has the first in point will move, and the second one will not move.
It sounds like to me that if you should always have your ducks in a row before you get to the pond, so to speak.
Yeah.
You have everything lined up, and it almost seems like it would be a bit easier just to sort of resync everything, if something like that happens. John has a question. What happens to an existing edit based on the multicam clip if you move stuff around like you've been doing?
Oh, did you mess it up?
Yeah. That's simple.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. I don't think there are any other questions. I think we were cut up. If I missed your question in the chat pod, I'm going through it right now. Please just turn your mic on and ask it. Otherwise, we'll just keep moving.
Yeah. So another way to sync, if you want to sync, or if you want to add another angle, would be to set markers. So if you I can only track one is active. So let's say I think they have a clapper here actually. So yeah, there's the end clap here. So I could have that. I could set a marker there and a marker on this one if they have. Oh, that's almost in the picture, but not really. Okay, so the clap was outside of the frame. But if I find a common point, I can add a marker and then just snap the markers to each other. So let's say that this
is there a sync by marker? There's no sync by marker yet, is there?
Yeah, there's a sync by marker if you do that in the create multi-camera source sequence. but that's too late now because I've already, but I can add a marker there, and that marker will snap to, I have other markers here, and that will snap to other markers if snapping is on. So if you have one or more extra clip with a marker on, you can do this. And there's always like a door that closes or whatever. If you don't have a clapper, there's always something you can sync on.
Kyle, I always use like when I've done short films and things like that where there's been a slate, I'll go through all my footage and I'll put markers at where the slate hits, and then I'll use that point to sync to and do a multicam, and it's always worked really well.
Yeah, that's what I've done. And then also sometimes though you'll have time code on like your main cameras, and then you've got some tertiary cameras where you've got people floating around with, like I've had some iPhone on guys that are just going around and doing the iPhone on little stands and doing hyperlapses and things like that, or they're just, or DSLR or GoPro that's hooked up somewhere else and trying to map to sync those ones. You get your main sync based on time code, and then you want to add a couple other elements to it and those starts and stops on some of those cameras can be a killer. So I mean, ideally everything's in sync with the same time code, with the same clapper and all that, but not always the reality.
Nope. So but a marker, if you add markers on at least 2 cameras, you can just drag, and it will you can see it snaps when I drag here. So it's very easy to make it click into sync. Okay, I don't need a multi-camera monitor for this. So yeah, so you can sync by markers and points like that. Always use the automatic for sequence presets. Audio choices are different for performances, where you, like I show now, you only want to use either the camera 1 audio or the audio from a separate audio recorder. With multiple persons with lavs, you will probably want to choose this one, switch audio. Then you will switch audio when you switch the camera. So if each camera has the audio from the person they're following, this will work. Switch audio. But to actually make it work, you'll have to choose that in the sequence too. So where is that? Where's that setting again? Yeah, multi-camera audio follows video. You have to enable that too for that to work. A very golden rule is to get rid of all the channels you don't need before you sync. So just make sure that all your cameras, let's say all these cameras, should not have more than one channel. I'll Shift G and then choose our preset and OK. Now I've gotten rid of one extra channel that I don't need on all these cameras. This is especially important when you get cameras with 8 audio tracks and you just need 1 and 2. You have to clean that up before you make your multicam, or you will go crazy. You get lots and lots of empty tracks, which is bad.
We did have one question. Kevin asked, can you make a multicam out of multiple nests?
Can I use a timeline and a nested timeline as a source for the multicam? Yes. As long as your system can handle it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So for most workflows, this will do. Modify the audio for all clips to mono before creating the multicam. And also when you do that, remove unwanted audio tracks, and then use mono for your audio channel preset in the multicam dialog when you make it. Because almost all professional workflows will be, you will want mono audio for, just a microphone. Editing, I showed you that, use the keyboard shortcuts. Q&W. I love that. I also use Add Edit. And if you know Premiere Pro, Add Edit is, what is it? Control or Command K. I mapped that to R. So I can just hit one button. I don't want to do a strange acrobatics just to cut a clip. So I mapped that to R. So I don't really have keyboard shortcuts for the Erase Stretch tool anymore. But I haven't used that since 2012, so I'm good.
I've got one question for you.
Yeah.
So John wants to know, I have a question about making changes after a multicam clip has already been edited. A few scenarios like discovering that one camera drifts in sync over time, or that it is 1 or 2 frames off from the others, even though the time code matches. Basically, when you discover a change is necessary after already having edited a bunch, is it easy to change, or is every cut in the sequence a separate instance of the multicam clip?
Well, all the changes I do here, I could do, Alt or Option and move it to the side, or maybe it's Command on Mac, Command and left or right arrow to just move it frame by frame to get it into sync. But it will mess with all the edits. So then all my edits will be 1 frame or 2 frames or whatever off. So it's better to just check this that it's in sync. I like to check at the start and at the end. So you just put it in a sequence and you hit Shift 0 and you play.
That's where it went. Are you confused now or just tired of my action?
And if you see that it's out of sync, then you have to do something. And what you can do is, let's say this is the clip that was, out of sync. Maybe from here, I can add a cut and then move this, only this, a little bit to the right or to the left or whatever. And you can have multiple cuts here.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and I love it. And what you said about it is good news to me, that even if you've made a bunch of these edits in your timeline, that if you discover, hey, the program cut went through the E2 and the E2, because of its processing, delayed the image by a frame or 2 frames, that even though the time code matches, that actually we just noticed that the program cut doesn't exactly match, that you can make a change and have that change ripple through the whole timeline. That's a good thing in my perspective, as opposed to every cut is its own instance, and if you change one, it only changes that spot in the timeline. So that's a beautiful thing. Is color correction the same way?
Yeah, all the color correction you do in here will come through in the edit.
So then, sorry if I extend this question a little bit longer, and I'll put my face on this.
No problem.
This terrible video that I just didn't want to distract you with my bad video behind me. So what happens in instance with color correction, for example, where you're gonna have different, like you got a camera that pans from audience to stage, and so it's got iris all over the place, and sometimes it needs to, the guy missed it, and it's got to be brightened some places and darkened in other places.
Yeah.
Do you have to collapse the multicam before making those type of individual changes, or you just do cuts in your source like you're about to show me?
I would either do cuts here or just give up on the coloring everything in one go and color each clip here separately. So you have to do it either in the main edit timeline or here. You have to make some cuts and so you can do something different to them.
Thank you.
So, yeah. What else? Dual system sound, we haven't covered that. That's probably where I use multicam the most in my workflow. So this is very boring stuff. It's me reading some newspaper headlines and stuff. But let's say I want to make I want to sync this. I use the same thing, create multi-camera source sequence, even though this is not really a multicam. It's one camera, one audio source. But yeah, So this dialogue should probably be in something else, but anyway. I use the same procedure: sync by audio, automatic, camera one, and mono. And these choices don't really matter here because I won't cut multicam, I'll just sync. So now it's synced. It took its name from the first, so I had these clips selected. And now I got multiple source sequences. So I should have one more. I'm not sure where that. Oh, yeah, that took its name from the video clip. So this is one, and then I have these two, and now look at what happens, because I put them here, but I got the originals, and that's because this button here was not active. So if I want nested sequences, I need to have this nest or not button active. So and now I can cut. I don't really need the multicam. I can just cut this now as normal with a Q and W and stuff, and I don't get any problems. So if you use what's it called? I use it so seldom I can't even remember. If you use the merge clips, you will get into trouble, because merge clips is in a way the same as not having this on. And when you drag down here, let's see, this one here. No. Oh, yeah, of course they are multicam. We have in the beta now, we have this new multi-camera follows nest setting, and I can try that one, and you will see I get the originals. So, and that's new in the beta, because we don't have this in 24.1, which is a problem for some people, that you can't really get a multicam to look like this in the existing version. But now if I try this now and I hit Q, I have to delete this. And then if I hit W, I have to delete this. This is extra work. I don't like extra work. So so what I do is I use them as multicams. Yeah, like that. So as multicams, and then I can use Q and W as I want to. No problems, no extra clicking. And then if you need to, you can right click and go to multi-camera and flatten if you need the originals. This was an easy one because just one source. So there's this one here is a bit worse. This is there's a lot of clips, and this is when I would when I make multicam sequences from these, I would probably I'll call this Glommen. It's that's the name of the project, and here I would probably choose to move the source clips to the process clips bin, just to see which clips can be synced and not. So it says now could not synchronize one or more clips, and I know that that's these clips, right? These have not been synced. All the other ones have been synced. Then I can look at this and see, okay, so I need the audio for this one. And then I can try to find which one is that. And the other ones are just wild audio, I guess. So that's quite beneficial when you have lots of clips and want to sync like this. But then if I now have all these, let's see, all these multicam source clips here, if I put these into my edit, I'll open that again, clean everything, and start with these. So these are now synced, but they have lots of audio channels. So what I should have done was, of course, to delete all the audio channels that I didn't need before I did this, but I can do it now. So I can do this and delete, and I have only the audio I need. But there's a problem with some of these clips because the audio is running and the video is not running. And what I like to do is to open all these in a timeline. So opening timeline, and you get all of them here. So then I can see, are there any clips on, yeah, like here on track 2. I need to put those down to video track 1, or I won't see it if I just cut normally and not with the multicam. So I kind of check that everything is okay by just opening everything and just looking, do I have anything on track 2? And then I can edit as usual. Actually, in this case, I actually like that I see this yellow stripe here because this yellow line tells me there's video there. So I don't have to scrub here to find it. I can just go here and hit Q. And then I can go here and R and go here and Q and so on. So I don't really have to, wade through a lot of non-video stuff. So these are actually a very good help when the audio is running and not the video, right?
One question that we have right now is from Bill. It says, is it best to do all audio embellishment in the source window, or can you do it in the nest?
Say again, please.
Is it best to do all the audio embellishment, like your audio, work on stuff in the source window, or can you do it in the nest once you've got everything on kind of in the multicam? So I guess he's asking, like, where's the best place to do any kind of audio tweaking and sweetening?
The sweetening I do after the edit, because
With
I don't
the
want
nested file.
I don't want to spend time sweetening audio I won't use, right?
Right.
So and also especially when you do multicam, is your system will struggle if you give too much to do, it will struggle. And that's that leads me to another thing that people struggle with. Let's say I wanted to on this one I wanted to add a compressor to his voice, right? So we can use the dynamics compressor. I put that on him, and let's just do a very simple soft compression, whatever. What happens now when I try to edit that? No audio waveforms. And that's because I'm now telling the system to generate waveforms on the fly from the output of this, which is the original audio plus the dynamics effect. That won't work. So missing waveforms, that means you're doing something to the audio, some mixing is going on. Maybe you're mixing 2 channels together and it can't do that on the fly. So missing waveforms, huge problem for a lot of people in multicam. That means you've done something here. Maybe when you created your multicam, you told it to use all the audio from all cameras, but you also told it to use stereo output. And then all those cameras will be mixed to a stereo output. And there's no existing waveform from that. So that will have to be created on the fly by Premiere, and it won't do it.
So to sort of follow up on Bill's question then, and kind of based on what you just said, it sounds to me like if you were going to add that compressor effect, you would want to do that, you know, at the end on the multicam nested sequence. You wouldn't want to go back and do it on the, you know, the main sequence. Yeah, there. You wouldn't want to do it there.
Yeah.
You would want to
Because
do
if
it.
I turn this off now, I think I actually have to remove it, delete it. Then I should have my waveforms back, but oh, now I've messed up royally here. Let's see. There you go. Okay, not sure why it's not. This might be a bug in the beta. Now that I haven't done anything, it should not really.
It's solely because you're presenting. That's why.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So anyway, let's use this one then, and keep the settings. So I have waveforms because I haven't added any effects, right? Where was I going with this? I'm not sure.
It was about whether to like if you were going to add a compressor, would you do it here or would you do it?
So I'll delete that bad track that I don't want. I would do it here. Either on the, I'm not afraid of, you know, nested sequences like this, so I would probably just do it here, you know, and choose the same preset. And now I have waveforms.
1 cup.
And I also have the effect. So, yeah.
Okay.
But of course, when you do lots of editing like this, you have lots of instances. So if you now want to do anything to his voice, you have to remove that dynamics effect from all of them, or edit it in all of them, and it gets a bit messy. So that's when the audio track mixer is actually very good. So instead of doing this, I'll just undo for a while until I don't have the dynamics effect anymore. There you go. No, one more. There you go. And I would probably just go to the audio track mixer and add it here. This is the most hidden user interface ever invented. This little thingy here, this twirly here, that's where you can add your effects. And you can do the same thing, add the dynamics effect. You can double click and you can use the same preset. And you have that on the track instead of on every clip. That's probably what I would do.
There you go, Bill. Does that answer your question? Yes. All right.
Cool. Okay, so what else did I have? Okay, yeah, if you, I think that more people should be. We're running over, aren't we?
Totally fine.
Okay, I think more people should use multicam because I think you should use multicam for single cam. Like, you know, I have this Violin Maker. That's this is a 4K shot, okay? An interview. So what if I want to punch in on him on occasions? So I want, you know, the one full frame like this and one closer. That's 2 angles, right? So I have like ready-made HD sequence here. So I'm now putting this 4K clip into my, I'll keep the settings. So you can see he's cut off now. So this one I'll set to frame size, and then I can, you know, alt click and make a copy. And this one I can zoom in, like maybe set scale to, let's say 80 or something. Click on motion and I can drag. So let's say this is my other angle. So and then I can right click and nest. I'll call it, yeah, well, nested sequence is very good. And then right click and multi-camera enable. And now I can open the multi-camera and I can edit like normal. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
I love you, Jarl. You're awesome. That's great.
Well, thank you. So if I add an edit here, oh, I wanted that camera here. Okay, so I'm just cutting. I can cut, very fast this way. So that's one way to use multi-camera with just one camera. So that's this one. Okay.
Worth the price of admission right there.
Oh, you can also use this for the same thing when you do the text-based editing. You have the opportunity. You can remove pauses. You can remove filler words and stuff like that. You end up with hundreds of cuts, jump cuts, and we all know that the warp cut don't really work. It doesn't really. Morph cut is called. Doesn't really work. So we end up with lots of jump cuts, and this won't solve it totally. But if you have two angles, kind of like this, you can at least punch in and punch out and hide some of those cuts like that. Yeah. Yeah, you keep track on the questions, Eric.
Yep, I'm watching it, and I will just say that I have had fairly good luck with Morph Cut. It's not perfect, and it's one of the things that I continually bring up to Adobe when I chat with them about things I want to see improved. But
yeah, I do it all the time. I say, well, it doesn't work. Just make it work.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll say I have a good 60 to 70% track record with making it work. Put it that way.
If you make it short, it may work, but so just wanted to point out we have now in this new beta version, we have this multi-camera follows nest setting, which means this button now works again. So which is nice. And there's also multi-camera audio follows video that you need to have active if you want your audio to follow the video. So if you want to cut your audio while you cut your video with clicking in the panel, you have to enable that. And then you have multi-camera selection top down, and that's something that doesn't really matter for most people. But when you have more than one, let's say I have this one too, I have more than one multicam in my sequence. So which one am I seeing here? As a standard, you're seeing the lowest one with the active what you call it, the track targeting. So we have turned this off. We see this one that can be reversed. Sorry, by using this.
So let me see. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about morph cuts going in the chat pod right now since we brought that up. And yes, when they work, they're magical. When they don't, they're a disaster. No in between. Yes, Kevin.
Yeah, totally.
That is totally true. I don't know that I agree with Felix that they're ethically problematic anyway, but I see your point there. So, and Jeff, sorry to hear that it kept crashing your project yesterday. That's unusual. I've never actually had a morph cut crash my project, but yeah, that's definitely a drag. So
I've seen people say that. I haven't experienced that myself, but yeah.
Yeah, it did. I had put one morph cut and it seemed to be okay. Put the second one in, and every time I tried to render, it crashed. So I just deleted it.
That's probably a lot to do with H.264 long GOP pictures instead of iframe codecs, because it's or variable frame rate or resources on the machine. It's typically those are the three things that I would look for.
Yep.
Well, should have plenty of resources in Mac Pro, so it should have the horsepower.
But if you use a variable frame rate, and it so the frame rate is not really 2997, but it varies. The system has to use a lot of resources to find out what is that frame that you're showing, because it's not, you know, when the frame is really starting later or earlier than the frame you're at, which frame should the system show? So it show the one that started a bit earlier, or the one that comes in a few milliseconds, you know? It's really hard calculations. So you may also, even if you do multicam with proxies, which you should, if your source material is an iPhone or an Android or whatever records with variable frame rate, you may your system may struggle a lot, even worse than before you made the proxies, because the proxies then have variable frame rate, and it will be just, or the proxy will have a stable frame rate, but it shouldn't be that because the source was variable. So what I do then is to go into, let's say this was a clip with a variable frame rate. I would go in and set a frame rate, you know. So go to modify and interpret footage, and just if they say this may say 24.978 for like 4 digits, but not exactly 25. I would say, okay, assume 25, and then you can make your proxies, and then everything will just work. So yeah, it's
just okay. That's good. It's a Zoom recording, unfortunately, and you know, just one single track, but
yeah, if it's a long clip, you may experience out of sync audio then. So you have to maybe make some cuts to make it sync with itself. So
thank you.
But at least your system will then be totally able to play. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, make shortcuts for source channel mapping and track height presets. If you don't know this, there's you can have you know, source channel preset. Let's choose something with some like this one. So you can have in the edit here. So you can have source channel presets like this. Like now I have video 1 and audio 1 on 3 and stuff like that. So these are presets that are made by save preset, and then you can assign you can manage the preset and assign a keyboard shortcut to it, which I've done. So I have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I can choose which like video only and so on. So you can have different source channel mappings mapped to keyboard shortcuts, which is nice. You can also do the same with the track heights. Instead of scrolling like this all the time, you can have like different presets with the audio and video track heights, which is nice. So I like to use that, especially with the multicam.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Kevin asked, quick question, pros and cons of interpret footage versus transcoding ahead of time.
Transcoding is nice if you have the time. I normally use the proxy workflow because I'm kind of a you know, what should I say, a quality geek. So I always think that you can't get any better than the source material. So I like to color on my source material. So I don't like to transcode. I use the proxy workflow, but that's just me. This is something people don't always know, that you can have keyboard shortcuts for going through your angles. So you can go next and previous angle like that, which can be nice if you're here and you want to, you know, change the angle. You can totally do that with the keyboard shortcuts. So you need to add these. So multicam with a hyphen, and you will see you have lots of keyboard shortcuts you can use. Yeah. Any more cool questions?
Nothing in the chat pod right now, so I guess we're good for the moment.
Yeah. This is a good tip, I guess. Like here, the camera is not running here, which means in the edit sequence, I'll get rid of which one is it? I'll use this one. So at times, this camera is not running, right? So why am I seeing the same clip in both? I should have. So when the camera is not running, if you have people with you in the edit bay and the camera is not running, they often say, "Oh, what happened there? You lost the image on camera 2 there," and I kind of got so bored by hearing that all the time. So I found out I need to help them. So what I've done is now I have to redo my multicam, so that should be easy. Maybe I have one here. Let's see. What is this? No, same thing. Ha! Why?
Have you? There's a question, or Felix is saying, enable multicam view in your program panel.
Yeah, this is a multicam view.
Oh yeah.
So, but I should. Okay. Let's just make a new one. So,
while you're doing that, I'll just want to say Mark's question about shooting in UHD with 4 cameras, and then wanting to see all the cameras. There's a way I can see the full frame and the UHD footage when choosing my angles. I think we covered that a few minutes ago. He kind of Jarle kind of showed how to do that. So maybe if we have time at the end, we can show how to do that again.
Yeah, watch the rerun.
No, well, it's 15. That's not that much, but then again, he's not going to have 1,500 pounds.
So
I was talking with Rob about it again. Rob goes, "Fuck it, just buy a bed when he gets there." It's the only reason he's taking the trailer.
I'll see who's not muted and mute them.
And I said it too.
There, it's done.
Okay, so so at times this camera is not running, right? And the people in the edit bay may be, they will say, "Oh, it's good. We lost the camera or something." So what I like to do is to just add a little mogurt there, camera not rolling. Now they know. So it's not rolling. That's why you don't see it. So then they don't bother me with their question. So
good trick.
Yeah. So yeah, multicams and proxies that do that. Camera not running. I think we have covered everything here. Mixed frame size sources. I will just point you to some resources, I think. Yeah, I should probably cover this then. So in the multicam sequence or edit sequence with the multicam, you can go to the program monitor settings and choose. Where is it? I'm blind. Edit cameras. And then you can choose what cameras are active and not, stuff like that. And you can also choose how many cameras per page. This is a page of 4 here now. If I choose to have only 2 per page, I don't see the other cameras. Now I can cut between these 2, and then I can do another I can play through another time and then use only the cameras from page 2. So I don't have to watch all the angles at the same time, which is sometimes nice. So that's in the wrench menu here, edit cameras, and then you can choose here how many cameras per page. And you can also move them up and down. So this doesn't have to be camera 1. It can be moved to, position 3 and be camera 3 instead. Even though I used it as camera 1 when I created a multicam sequence, because that's where the audio was, I can still edit the cameras and move it to, say, camera 4. Yeah. This is kind of strange, renaming the multicam. If you, like this one, it takes its name from the first clip you create. When you tell it to take the name from the video clip or audio clip, it will have this strange name. I can call this just test, and now it's named test here, but in here it doesn't really always work to do this. So let's see if I can make this not work. So if I go like this, right click, multi-camera source sequence, not custom, but I have to say take the name from the video clip name. Okay, and I put it here, and now I rename this to test like that, and it doesn't update here because it's now taking its name from the clip like I told it to. So what you can do then is to open the multicam, and then you can rename this clip. So rename to test, and then when you go into your edit, it's got that name. Yeah. So these are the resources that I want you to know. So I can probably just put those in a chat. So that's probably the easiest way. So
I had a couple questions. So first, I'll start with Bill's because I think that's probably the quickest, and then I'll go back to the next one. If the waveform is missing in the multicam sequence, can't you just select it and hit render and replace? And I don't think that will accomplish building the waveform, because render and replace is going to do something completely different.
You can totally render waveforms, but you will lose them at some time when you do other stuff. So I don't like that. I like to just have waveforms without rendering. Okay.
And Mark's question, I think this is the thing we talked about before, and I think I misunderstood what he was asking. He says, I shoot in UHD, Ultra HD with 4 cameras. I deliver and edit in the multicam in 1080. I want the option to be able to reframe the UHD footage in 1080. In the multicam window, the window that sees the 4 cameras, I only see 50% of the source footage, which makes it hard to choose the shots. Is there a way I can see the full frame of the UHD footage when choosing my angles?
Yeah, so I just pasted this URL in the chat. There's a lot of multi-camera tips and tricks in here. And one of them is multicams with mixed size sources. So here you go. Just read that. It's basically just if you have a 4K source sequence and you put it in an HD sequence to edit, you're good. You should probably do set to frame size in the edit, or in this. You should make sure your sizes are good in the source sequence. If you read this, you should probably understand what's going on.
There you go.
So a lot of what I've covered here and more is here in the multi-camera tips and tricks for Premiere Pro editors. And that's actually a companion site to this one, because this is the Adobe Premiere Pro Best Practices and Workflow Guide that I wrote with the Hollywood team from Adobe. And so we have quite a big multi-camera editing chapter in there. but the chapter, we wanted that to be, to the point and not too detailed. So in this, in the multi-camera chapter of this, you will have a link to this page where you can read a bit about the more problematic stuff with multicam. So the more advanced stuff is here. The first one here is creating the edit sequence. I'm not sure if everyone is on the latest version, but if you're not on the latest version, you should not create the editing sequence by create a new sequence from the multicam, because that's what a lot of people do, and they get problems. So if you have made a multicam source sequence and then you go right click and new sequence from clip, that would, in older versions, you would then only get audio in the left channel, because all the tracks will be panned left, which you can fix in the audio track mixer, because it would be like this. Every track would be panned left, which is bad. Of course, you can then go in and double click on all these to reset them, but that's bad. So in the new version, or the current version 24.1, this doesn't happen anymore. If you create a sequence from a multicam sequence, you get a sequence with normal audio, not panned to the left or stuff like that. So that's a good one to know. So yeah, if you have any multicam questions, I kind of bet there are answered here.
I can't imagine that anybody would have any more questions after the masterclass on multicam we just had. So
I'm sure if someone, I know some people who would have questions, but they're not here. So.
Okay, Mark says that I've actually read all that before and not seen the solution. So yeah, I guess he's so yeah,
okay.
Sorry about that, Mark. I guess we'll try to figure that out. So
the set the frame size thing seemed like an important point that y'all just made about Mark's question.
Yeah,
maybe that's where an issue is.
But yeah, if you can just send me a sample project with just a few clips, I could have a look and see what is done.
well,
and
it sounds like what's happening is, so he's shooting 4K footage and he's got a 1080 timeline, but he says he wants to be able to reframe that 4K footage in the 1080, but in the multicam view, he's seeing only 50% of the source footage, which is the shots.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll have to look at the project, but I think I understand. So it's kind of the opposite of what I showed here, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mark, maybe that's something you can reach out to him, send him an email, and you guys can help you figure that out. And let's see. So before we get
this situation, right, where 4K source, 4K multicam, 1080p edit sequence, and then you have that problem. What I would do is to use set to frame size, so you get this situation in the multicam, and then I would flatten and then do the punched in and stuff afterwards, because then you have the source clip.
There you go.
So flatten all those clips that you want to punch in on, then you're good.
Okay. And then before we get too far, before we run out of time, I know that we talked about having somebody share their multicam sequence. And John Street, if you're still on, did you want to try to share your project that you emailed me about that sort of was the spark for this whole meeting?
No, I really appreciate you offering it, but Jarle did such a great job of covering the basic things about how to do the sync shifts within the multicam sequence window before laying it into the timeline.
Okay.
That solved like 98% of my misunderstandings about how to work inside a multicam. So it was hugely helpful, and I really do appreciate the detail that you went through to make that happen.
Well, there we go. All right, then.
Thank you.
All right. Well, any final questions here before we sign off? I know we went over a little bit on time, but my kids will be upset that they're not going to make it to the birthday party we're going to after this. I don't really care because that birthday party is going to be a zoo, but that's just me. But anyway, any final questions here? Let's see. We got a lot of thank yous. Happy to do it. Yeah.
Eric,
Yes.
just a quick note that San Diego Media Pros will have another happy hour, a sync up on February 20th, Tuesday, February 20th.
Okay.
So coming up, we have it on the website, and you can register.
Okay. Yeah. For all local San Diego people, check out Media Pros.
Yeah. I can't remember where we're having it, but anyway,
somewhere in Mira Mesa, I think. So I remember the conversation. So, all right. Well, with that, I want to thank Jarle for presenting. That was the best possible meeting I could ever imagine to have kicking off the year, and I owe you big time. Next time we're together, it's gonna be multiple beers, drinks, food, whatever that I'm buying you. So if I see you at Max and everything.
Yeah.
Or
so Nils, I see you have a question. If you contact me privately, I'll try to help you. Okay.
There we go. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming out on this Saturday. It's good to see you all. First meeting of the year, and we will see you all next month at the next meeting. Jarle, thanks again for presenting all the way from Norway.
Thanks for having me.
You're the man. All right. We'll see you all next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you.